No, don't just say no. No.
All right, we're live. Fantastic.
This is anti-Britishness.
Anti-British. The Britons are always about democracy and what's the other term? Humanitarianism.
Humanitarianism. Yeah, and this is just totalitarianism and other things.
I'm trying to remember that quote from Monty Python where it's like the guy who wants to march up and down the square, and the last line of that skit is the narrator.
Yeah, very well. It will just be myself marching up and down the square.
And the UK has a big history of democracy and humanitarianism. It's like bollocks. Shh.
Yes. Shh.
Oh dear. Okay. Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Smudcast number 154. And we are doing a video by Curio, and that is a sorry to bother you. You can't just tame people. This was a video done in August of this year. It's not too popular compared to his other videos. It's not to say it's a bad video. It's a very, I wouldn't say biased video, very one-sided looking at the human condition, let's just say, and how humans cannot be conditioned to be a certain way. And he uses videos and movies as examples, which is fine. You can use fiction to illustrate a certain idea. Whether or not that's believable is another story based on the content of the video and how it's framed, because a lot of videos that he'll show are very exaggerated, if not fantastical. So that's, again, also fine. But when you actually look at the history of humanity, you can make multiple arguments and have examples of how people are very, very easily tamed, if not told and shown how to behave, when to get off the land that has been conquered, when to lose your life if you want to lose it. So
I do think there's examples of where it hasn't worked or where they've tried to do that and it hasn't worked as well.
Oh, for sure. There's plenty of examples of training that is not effective. The entire schooling system in the public sector and the private sector as well. Mm-hmm. Motivation on behalf of the individual within a group. You can look to the rise and fall.
Like the Soviet Union would be a good example.
God, yeah. If you want to control your people, communism is not a very good model for economic influence. It's
but comrade, it's succeeded so well.
It's the opposite. It's more like the sign of how to destroy a civilization as opposed to create one that's prosperous. So I'm not going to have any illusions.
One, you first need to destroy one.
Oh God, yeah, it's the story of nations. The entire philosophy and results. I mean, everything sounds good on paper until you employ it, and it looks like, oh yeah, people don't like losing their lives or their livelihood, or their jobs, or their property, or their money. So don't do that, Stalin.
Oh my God, who would have thought?
I know, like, whoa. Controlling the means of production via the government? Probably not a good idea, so, yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, Curio has some rather curious videos, and we haven't seen them all. We've had a list for at least 6 months with Curio on the Smudcast that you guys have recommended, and we've sort of not shied away, just no one's really voted on them before. And because of you guys and having a more democratic view on selecting videos, so you guys chose this from a list, because we have a list of YouTubers like Curio. So there's Renegade Cut, we have some Maggie May Fish, and we got rid of that because no one wanted to do those. And then we had
we wanted to live. That's the reason.
We got it's like a drug. Yeah, it's like a very very it's like fentanyl. You can only take it once every few months, and then you could go on a crazy high, and then don't kill yourself months later. So that's how we deal with Maggie May Fish. There's Wit and Folly, which I think we've exhausted, although she's making a few more new stuff as well. So we have to parse these out and make sure that they're consumable. But this one is a small one. It's only 9 minutes and a half compared to he does very long videos. So this one is simpler.
I mean, the fact you wanted us to do a 30-minute Why the Last of Us is Good video, I'm really glad we're just doing a 9 minute. Sorry to bother you one now.
Yeah, I would call in like Southpaw or one of you guys. I'm sure one of you guys in the chat would love to talk about Last of Us Part 2.
I've played the game, couldn't finish it, and so watched playthroughs of it, so I know it quite well.
Yeah, I know people who make the
Yeah,
argument that you never played all of the game, you never played any of the game, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like I've watched multiple playthroughs. I've sat through at least 12 hours watching.
I played it for like 6 hours and then tried to refund it and found out that Sony doesn't do that.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I watched Mauler's playthrough of it.
Yeah.
Must have been the wind.
It's not for everyone, folks. Let's just say that. Anyway,
It's not for 99% of people.
yeah. Well, it got Game of the Year. No, it did get Game of the Year. The game of a platform. I can't remember what it won.
In the
It
Game
didn't win
Awards.
the People's Choice.
People's Choice.
Ghost of Tsushima won that.
I thought Sekiro won.
Why do people even bother with that? Stalin and Hitler both won Times Person of the Year, so these awards mean nothing.
That was
Anyone
back
can
when
win
Times
anything.
magazine was cool.
Yeah, but awards mean nothing.
Yeah, but it's always nice to have a foyer with a display case that has all your awards to show off to people who enter your foyer. They go, ooh, they got awards.
I won Best Sarcastic Hawk account on Twitter last year.
Ooh.
It means nothing.
Well, these things happen. Anyway, 9.5 minutes. We can start when you guys are ready. I think we're all set to go. You guys good?
Yeah, I am just gonna go switch this oven off and have my pizza and drink ready to watch this pile of crap. So I'll be back in 5 to 10 seconds.
Okay. I'm all happily lubricated mentally.
I'm pouring myself a drink.
Yeah, I'm done with my champagne or my Italian bubbly, if you want to call it frizzante, whatever you like.
Frizzante.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Nice e brutto. So,
va bene, va bene.
yeah. Well, you gotta
I have my juice. I have my chocolate orange.
Oh, nice. That's a Christmas treat.
Those are tasty.
And I am back. I swear to God, if anyone in the chat was actually timing me.
All right, so let's get started.
The murder of George Floyd, there have been widespread protests, tons more disproportionate violence from the police. Several US cities have started talking seriously about defunding their local police departments, and both radical and frank discussions of racism and white supremacy have entered the mainstream in an unprecedented way.
Really, I honestly do not recall
Oh, Jesus Christ.
the conversations about white supremacy over the months. I do recall the riots. I do recall the destruction of public and private property, the looting. And a lot of the very stoic policemen who've waited patiently before they get attacked, before they actually initiate defensive measures to protect themselves and others. So I have not heard the talk of white supremacy yet.
I heard about the defunding the police department and then complaining that crime skyrocketed and no one was stopping crime, at which point they funded the police again.
Didn't one of the social workers they sent in get killed? Like they were like, "Oh, we're going to send a social worker in because that's going to de-escalate the situation," and then they got killed.
I think something like that happened.
Best person to ask is Punish Berserker because he works in Portland and he'll tell you stuff about it.
One thing now concerning white supremacy is that it has been a boogeyman for a while, and this year they kind of went into overdrive. Tim Pool on one of his shows even started making jokes about it, where it's like just search anything and with it the term white supremacy and you're almost guaranteed to find an article about how it's white supremacy.
Cycling, yoga,
the Norwegian alphabet. The Norwegian alphabet is white.
Oh yeah, right. That was one as well, where they like the letter O, the A with the circle that is, I think is pronounced, or the O with this dash through it. Slash through it.
Lego is white supremacy.
I think the was white supremacist.
Milk is white supremacist because
that one is old.
That's likely to be lactose intolerant.
Can you believe that they named all the cows that made the milk female names? Unbelievable.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Black Lives Matter, wokeness, wonderful.
Yay!
See my pizza.
And a whole lot of white people realized they could no longer remain
White.
uneducated.
It's
on
white.
these
Don't say
issues.
white.
Shortly
you
after
stuck-up
Netflix reported
git.
that The Help had topped its list of most searched films. The Help is a 2011 film made by a white man called Tate, based on a book by a white woman about good white people who can see...
Okay, so first off, I don't see a problem with any person of any race making a movie based off another person of any race who is talking about a group of people of any race. I don't see the problem with that. You might think that, oh, well, obviously a Chinese person can talk about ancient China the best. Like, yeah, maybe if they studied history, but anyone... I've had friends gotten PhDs in Egyptology, and they're not from Egypt. They're white as can be. So it doesn't make much of a difference what your study is.
I forgot which country this was. I once heard about it's connected to some professor I knew. I think it was Israel contacted him on history of Israel because he was just almost worldwide one of the best specialists, and he just was, the best. So they contacted him instead of one of them at home because, he was the best. They didn't care if he was from Israel or not. They were just like, we want the best person for this excavation, so let's call on that person.
Right, but that's an actual historical study, whereas this is just a fictional account, which anyone can do, and you could argue whether that's accurate or not, or a good film, but that has nothing to do with who their parents were.
No. See, the problem is it's portraying white people as not all being universally evil. So, yeah.
Yeah, but here's a major thing. It's bad because two white people did this. But if two black people have done the exact same thing, does that mean it's a good program?
Oh, well, that would just be internalized racism, you see.
We did actually cover this. We did in fact cover a video that talked about The Help.
Yes, yeah.
And we talked about the magical Negro character and the white savior hero or the white savior protagonist. So we're familiar with the tropes, and there's nothing inherently wrong with or right with most tropes rather. So it's really, how is this a bad thing? Because I don't see anything wrong with having a piece of media, which is fictional, talk about these issues and have sad or depressing scenes where there is racial disparity or there is prejudice. I think that's necessary when dealing with these issues. Because if you don't have conflict, well, first off, you don't even have a story. But if you're going to address the issue, you have to show. Like, imagine Schindler's List didn't have killing. It was just the idea of killing, or just someone gets killed off screen. It's like, that's fine, but you want to show it. Mm-hmm. You want to grab them as close as possible, and we have the technology. We have what are those called? The exploding gun or blood packs in your shirt.
Squibs.
The squibs. Yeah, we have the technology to show off people getting shot. So why not use it?
Yeah,
I thought
it's like a World War II movie where there's no actual killing. It's just slight tapping each other.
Or a World War II game where there's no single swastika to be found.
Yeah.
Here's Joe Crazy. Thanks, Joe. Recently, Michigan University claimed that the term picnic is racist. Really?
Why?
Picnic's racist. Yeah.
It's complete nonsense, though.
I want to know how. How is that even racist to begin with?
Oh, because it has N in it.
Okay.
It has NI in it. And that kind of sounds like
right, Smud. The reason picnic is racist, and the scientific reason is, the people saying it's racist are clinically insane. And that's it.
Okay.
The people making these things up are insane. And they will say anything's racist just to keep the bandwagon of racism going.
Because I think the idea of picnics are fantastic, and I think everyone should have a picnic. Yeah.
Is it because they might attract black ants? And you might have to squish one of them, and that's racist.
But is the actual reasoning giving really that it's an NI in there?
I don't know.
Is it because generally you go on a picnic in somewhere that isn't the city, and black people tend to be in the city and not in, I don't know, like the countryside or whatever.
Oh my god!
Maybe,
The word pick
maybe
is in picnic, and black people used to pick cotton during slavery.
Bruh.
Thus, it's racist. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, but they enjoyed it. They were singing on the fields.
Yeah, all those dirty Scottish Highlands and the fjords with all the marshes, the peat moss.
Yeah.
Dirty Scots.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
That the racism is bad and care and want to change things. This news that The Help had become Netflix's most searched film was immediately derided and mocked on Twitter for the clear attempt by clueless white people to try and educate themselves.
Twitter.
Oh, it was mocked on
Racism.
Twitter! No!
That is.
Oh no!
I, meanwhile, watched
no.
Sorry
Oh, no, it was
Body
mocked on
because
Twitter.
I'm one of the good white people. Who cares? This is a film that absolutely deserves...
So was that a joke? Was that a joke?
No.
Also, I just shortly want to say, suddenly a topic explodes into the global scene of news. You might think that then people start looking for entertainment related to that topic. Maybe not because they want to educate themselves, but just because the topic is in their heads and they're like, well, maybe there's a good film on that.
He's citing, people on Twitter derided it. It's like, as if that's a definitive, like, gotcha. Like, see, people on Twitter didn't like people.
How much of the population uses Twitter again? Wasn't it like something
even of the people who use
2%?
Twitter, like 80% of the tweets are like 20% of the users of Twitter.
Yeah, it's the 80-20 rule.
Yeah, so like the people that are actually tweeting are nobody. They're like nobodies. They're unusual.
Yeah,
weird people.
like me. I'm on Twitter. I tweet. I'm an absolute nobody. Don't base all your stuff on Twitter.
I tend to find that Twitter is just there to air your grievances anyway. So there's every 2 seconds there's just someone complaining about something.
Like, I don't have Twitter at all.
I also don't have
There's always a problem. Yeah, you're not missing out on much. Just go to a mental asylum and get the same.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
experience.
I don't think I need to do that.
It is. I, meanwhile, watched Sorry to Bother You because I'm one of the good white people. Who cares? This is a film that absolutely deserves a close and in-depth inspection.
I hope that was a joke, but I'm sure it wasn't.
Jam-packed with scathing satire, sharp comedy, and a bunch of moments that are just uncomfortable and also work so well because they're distressingly believable, like when the CEO of Worry Free pressures Cassius into rapping for all the white party guests, and Cassius correctly guesses that all they really want to hear is a song comprising only 2 words, shit and the N-word, and then all the guests start singing along. Or when Cassius is...
What?
Question.
What is the satire here?
How many of you have ever got a coloured work employee to get up and sing a rap song?
Dance for me, brown man.
They only did it after they threw money at them.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, never in my working life have I ever gone on a works do where my boss has said, "You, black man, sing one of your black songs for us." It's like, no, that's not believable. It's called satire. It's a joke.
Yeah, generally
It's meant to
speaking,
be over the
But
top.
what's the satire? I don't get, like, what is...
Also,
I don't know.
just as a question, I think I heard once a song that almost is like a song in real life that's almost entirely comprised of the N-word. And that song, I think, was satire of, rap music often using that word.
Yeah.
well, the general idea behind most satire stories and movies, or any fiction really, is it's over-the-top, ridiculous exaggerations to show that this is indeed foolish, and you need these stupid examples to show, yeah, this is silly.
But it should be based on a real thing, though.
Yeah,
It should be like it should be an exaggerated version of reality.
That would help, yeah.
But these people think this is reality.
Yeah,
You have to
that's
remember
what I'm
this.
saying. It's like, what?
Yeah, so it's a satire on leftist versions of reality, almost. Obviously, they wanted to make it like a joke about this is what right-wing people do. In reality, this is just what left-wing people think.
Well, there's all kinds of
As I
examples.
say.
I mean, it depends on what satire you're going for, whether it's political or spoofing a genre like what's that
true,
Australian one? It's What We Do in the Shadows. It's like a vampire genre of horror. Like it's just for jokes, and it's just like what would happen if you had a bunch of clueless vampires running around in wherever I think it was the UK. I don't know where exactly they were from, but what if that were the case? So you have these silly examples of like vampires renting out a hall so they can have a party. It's this silly stuff which makes you laugh because that's the point. So when you have satire which is trying to be serious or dramatic, and they have like the basement of where you work is like a secret dance hall where this guy can rap and impress a bunch of white guys. It's just like, okay, really? Is that a thing now? Like you just use
it's like a comedian coming up and going, "Am I right, people?" And you're like, "No, you're not.
No,
no, you're wrong."
No.
Like,
yeah, but there's some really good satire like Fight Club, which we know is not believable in certain contexts, but it works because the message is actually clear and we can relate to it easily. I don't know how relatable that sort of book or that sort of story is with one on screen. Like I'm trying to think of other examples which are just silly, but there's so many stupid films.
I think one of my favorite examples of satire is a short video clip made by students. It was a cooperation between a Norwegian and an African university, and they made a satire video of all those charity videos, help the people and everything, and it was about the Africans sending radiators to Norway because it's so cold in Norway all the time. And it's called Radiate, and it's just so well done. It's like, they helped us so much, like the Africans speaking, they helped us so much, now we need to help them, let's send warmth of Africa to Norway. It's so good, it's so well done.
I've lived long enough in my life to hear the words rapping in an underground bunker for a white boss.
Cassius is filmed in a humiliating moment getting hit in the head with a Coke can, and the video goes viral online. As
we go viral if it's a white guy as well.
And then to get
access
to a platform later.
You mean like
anybody.
the videos of Nigel Farage getting hit with a milkshake? You mean like that? You mean like that?
Yeah.
Went viral online?
Or of Sargon of the Car getting hit with a milkshake, or numerous viral videos of people.
What? And then just this guy lives in an alternate reality, dude.
Well, of course he lives in an alternate reality. He's one of the good white people.
Hello, I am white.
I am a white person.
Hello, ich bin ein weißer Mann.
He has to undergo public humiliation even more.
If you want some ass, you have to bring some ass.
I just get the image
However, in light of
of
current events,
blazing
and the
saddles
current political
where they're beating up the old woman.
Oh, that is one of the best satires. That was so great. It takes the Western the Western genre and just goes crazy with it.
Yeah.
Also, isn't every time a game show or show like this is satirized, a big part of it is humiliation, because that's kind of also part of those shows in real life.
I'm pretty sure the name of that game show was "I Got the Shit Kicked Out of Me Today" or something.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's multiple examples from Kurt Vonnegut, the Metamorphosis, Faust. There's all these wonderful ideas.
Kafka?
Yes, Kafka. So we can look at all of these stories as examples of why satire is the way it is, and why it's done in a certain time period, and why they work, and why some of these, like this, is unbelievable to that degree. Obviously, that we don't look at the Metamorphosis and go, "Oh yeah, this is totally believable." It's like, no, we don't. But we can see, even if the idea that you are so invisible to your family and friends and whatever, that they couldn't recognize you or care to even look at you, that you're transforming into this other being, that is what the feeling is like. So it's this general idea of isolation and alienation. Whereas this is more of a social commentary on how crazy society can become, so that the context and the scope is a little different. And
Has any of you seen the film? Sorry to bother you.
no, but I'm familiar because we covered it before, so we kind of know what goes on.
Would that scene change of him being humiliated if he was white?
I guess if it's just a satire of like entertainment being from people being humiliated, then you could still have that, I guess. But if he's saying it's a racial thing, I don't see what is the satire. What is this supposed to be like?
I mean, the footage he's used didn't make it seem like it was a racist thing.
It's more like a fetish of people who aren't black to be attracted to whatever culture black people have, and rapping and music and whatever the moment of the day is that is attractive. And having a black man who takes part in these activities and go, oh yeah, he's special. Let's respect that thing.
Sounds like
I'd like to zoom in on what happens in the end. At this point, I'm supposed to give a really huge spoiler warning in case you haven't seen the film and don't know about the horse people, but I'd rather just get on with it. Halfway through the film, Cassius, the protagonist, discovers that Worry-Free, the company selling barely disguised slave labor, is turning its workers into horse-human hybrids, or equisapiens.
We are proud to announce to our shareholders that a new day in human productivity is dawning. Our workforce of equisapiens will make Worry-Free the most profitable company in human history. And you, our shareholders, will be a part of that history.
The thinking by Worry-Free and their CEO, Steve Lift, is that if they can manufacture a rebellion among the Equisapiens, plant Cassius among them as a civil rights activist, as controlled opposition, then they can control the Equisapiens and keep them from ever gaining any real power.
The proposal I want to make you is this. That is
Could you get a better movie clip of this then? Just
bigger, longer,
Also, turn up the volume of the clips you're using.
so soon
when you record this off your TV, turn your TV up.
they're going to form their own society. They'll probably form their own culture. Then maybe they want to organize. Maybe they want to rebel. And that's why we need someone on the inside who represents Worry-Free's needs. Someone they can relate to.
Talking about a manager for fucking horse people.
No.
So, from everything he's showing, what way does that exactly specifically relate to race? Because everything he's showing to me seems more like a satire on
Is this just capitalism?
exploitation of workers, or kind of capitalism, trying to get as much money out of it as possible, no matter the means.
We've got to horse people, gentlemen. Horse people.
I'm just not sure where. Like, what is this supposed to say about society?
I'm dreading him comparing the horse people to blacks. I'm dreading it.
Oh no! Oh God! No!
I hope it won't happen, but God, I mean, orcs have been called black, so
I'm trying to think of. I don't know if you guys saw the movie Gattaca, where there's a society of people, engineered babies, who are superior, like intellectually, physically, etc. But the story's not about that.
I've heard about it.
It's just part of the setting. The story's about a guy who wants to go into space, and because he's not one of the elite supreme intelligence, he has to fake it. But he's really smart anyway, so he studies and studies to get into space, and so it's not about the designer babies and his brother who's like better than he is and all that stuff. That's part of the conflict in the setting, but it's not the actual point of the story. It's not the message of the story. So it's it's kind of like, okay, it's interesting genetics, but it's like there's other better genetic stories out there, or stories about genetics out there than that. And
also you can tame horses. So
I think that's the idea. Yeah, because horses are easier to control or manipulate because they're more animalistic. But we're not even going to get into the topic of psychology and reinforcements and conditioning and influence and all sorts of things. So, oh boy.
But does that mean all those people who do pony play are easy to tame as well?
I guess.
These are the big questions you have to ask.
They're easy to hunt.
He's the hunt down.
Yeah, they're easy to spot.
No. The Equisapien, Martin Luther King here. But one that we create. One that we control.
The boldness of this movie to just announce the co-opting of radical movements by the ruling class is amazing. I'd call it unprecedented, but the same thing happens in Snowpiercer, where John Hurt plays a reformist radical leader.
I feel like we've got a lack of self-awareness here.
Yeah. Wow.
First thing I thought when he started making this point was like, reminds me kind of something else happening in real life.
Imagine a protest movement that has like a 3-word slogan. Let's say, I don't know, off the top of our heads, BLM. And imagine it being hijacked by richer champagne socialists who just wanted controlled opposition. Let's just imagine that. God, yeah, that's unprecedented.
Well, controlled opposition that's supported by all big quote unquote supported by big companies.
Yeah. God, I'm really glad that never happened. Phew, that'd be insane. Who would believe that?
Yeah, I wonder what political party the Black Lives Matter movement associates itself with. Gee, I wonder.
I think he thinks he's talking about Trump somehow. Like he thinks like Trump is co-opting.
No,
because like the working class, like start being more like pro-Trump or whatever, or being like anti-immigration, and he sees that as the co-opting of like working class interests or something. I think that's probably where he's going with this, but I think it's the complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Who turns out to be working directly with the front of the train. Wait, spoilers for Snowpiercer if you haven't seen it and you don't know that John Hurt turns out to be a class traitor. However, when the protagonist...
So, a class traitor. Does anyone know the definition of a class traitor? Or is that sort of definitive in the words?
Well, the definition that he's putting is someone who betrays the working class. But since he doesn't know what the working class is, nor do I think he's ever spent 5 minutes with anybody of the working class, he just means anyone who disagrees with his communist goals and ideas.
Yeah, so the most common definition is somebody who does go against the interest of the working class, coming from the working class.
Okay, so if you were a member of the bourgeois or the poor or the rich and you did something against your class, they would still be a class traitor?
I think if you don't necessarily own capital, you're not a capitalist. But if you could kind of shill for capitalists, as in the people who actually own capital, while still being working class yourself.
Yeah, you know what? I can only think of Russians and the revolution and that sort of scope of definitions, because I don't think I've ever heard that term used in the Snowpiercer world is a bunch of people on a train, right? So
this is what I found.
Is it?
Yeah.
I just kind of
It's just a class trait as a term used in socialist discourse. Yeah. So really, at the end of the day, it's a communist word for someone who doesn't believe in the communist propaganda they're spouting.
So are we class traitors because we don't believe in it? Is that? I guess. Yeah.
This. Well, the thing is, I would be what you call working class in the UK, and like I said before, I don't know if we were on live or it was before we went live. These sort of people hate me. They wouldn't come 5 foot near me. They hate the working class. Well, if they turn up and said, "Oh, I support the working class," I said, "Oh, great, hi." They go, "Ugh, no, go away," and like pepper spray in my eyes. I think
Stone Boss has a comic about that.
Yeah, that's literally.
It's just a handshake, like recoiling. Mm-hmm. It's like, ugh.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Free the Equisapiens. They revolt against the company, against the police, because of course they do. They don't want to be enslaved animal people. The thinking of the company is clearly that if they make their workers more bestial, they'll be able to control them more easily. But you can't just tame people. This moment of revolting against the Equisapiens is really interesting because
Okay, so let's imagine our black protagonist gentleman was not there to rise the revolt or whatever. Why wouldn't they have been happy to do their job?
Yeah,
I mean, there are limits to what you can do with slavery and a populace with certain rules in place until it becomes so stringent and so tight that they don't want to listen to your rule set anymore, and they rebel. So, I mean, if you look at humanity, or rather first world countries as a whole, we have a whole set of municipal and provincial or state rules and federal rules that we pretty much all follow, unless there's like some taxation rules we don't know because they're so complicated or whatever, and you hire someone to help you out. And those are like, those are against the law, but it's not like you intentionally did it, so there's lots of leeway. But yeah, we're pretty much conditioned to live this certain lifestyle and to wake up and work and go to sleep, and it's kind of.
I also really like.
Could you imagine going to work for a big, massive corporation where you're pretty much doing slave labor and you're treated like crap? That never happens in the real world.
I also really like that this person is using kind of like socialist terms, yet also saying that you can't just tame people. I really like that.
Yeah, it's like
that's a good catch, actually.
Like reprogramming camps or re-education camps. That's a Soviet socialist thing.
Yeah. But it doesn't work.
That's yeah.
Communism. The only thing you have to force upon people.
Just read 1984, then you know how to tame.
I mean, yeah, we could look at even back to Plato, who had entire, not essays, but entire books on how to properly condition an entire culture on the Republic, how to raise people to be against avarice, to seek wisdom and excellence and all these other virtues that he thought was ideal, and that's why he wrote that idea down. Same with Aristotle. He had a whole bunch of ethics theories and the Nicomachean ethics section about how to condition folks. And I'm not saying we all adhere to that 100%, or the Magna Carta 100%, or whatever Charter of Rights 100%, but we pretty much follow them, basic teachings, whether they're Judeo-Christian teachings or this.
Raising a child is taming a human.
Right, and even Plato said that the male human is the most difficult creature to tame in the wild. Mm-hmm. So it's like he's aware of these things, but it's still taking place. We're still teaching our children how to behave. Yeah. So if
there's just one thing I'd change from what philosopher would say about taming a child. It's an attempt to tame a child. Because those little buggers are just like insane.
Like we have the entire schools of thought, actual literal schools, to keep children to become adults. What else would you call education? You're teaching them things on how to survive in a society that they're in right now.
Wouldn't you also say if you don't get tamed, you just become feral? And we don't particularly want feral people just roaming around.
It's a difficult term because you're talking about as if we're animals, and I'm not against the idea because we are technically animals, but we have so much evidence and techniques, psychological ones, historical examples, all kinds of social sciences about the concept of allowing people to grow in a certain way. And obviously some of those techniques don't work for some people. Some people don't drop out of high school or college or whatever. That's fine. But we have these systems in place. So they do work, and we have plenty of reasons why they work. Now, we have to imagine that in the future society we'll have like genetic superiors or designer babies, or you name it, whatever kind of alterations. And some of them might be seen as higher on the totem pole, which implies others will be seen as lower. But the rights of a civilization will not suddenly change because there are now like Homo superiors or man-horse hybrids. Like the rights aren't going to change.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't see why they would or how they would. The Constitution won't just suddenly change. Oh yeah, we have to.
The 90th Amendment. 90th Amendment.
I think
the right to graze twice a year or something.
I don't know.
I think the only way you would be able to make those kind of genetically different people's rights change is to have a functioning definition of human, and then taking away rights of people who don't fall under this definition.
Yeah, I mean we're going into the realm of science fiction. I know where some of the
yeah, I know. I'm just saying that's the only way their rights would change.
Right, and we have the concept of, was it third or fourth wave feminism? I can't remember which the feminist who thought this up, but there's the concept of creating a hermaphroditic human who can like both carry a child and yeah, like that's one of their end goals. Like that's what they want, so that everyone's uniform.
So they come all the way around to say eugenics. We want it.
Yeah, essentially, that's one of the extremes of feminism. So it's like, okay, that's like they actually want a literal hybrid where there's no possibility. But even then, you'd still get class arguments and who's superior and who's stronger and who's smarter and all this other crap. So I just find it funny that all these people are trying to define these terms, and we already have it on the books that we're already equal legally. So
yeah.
That's not going to change anytime soon.
That's one thing I always
try and say. You can't tame humans because every human deserves freedom, and then tries to defend freedom with socialist and communist ideas. I hope to God he does actually go to that, because then I can easily put a tick next to his name with insane.
I feel like I have more respect for like actual Stalinists than these sort of anarchist, like renegade cut types, because at least Stalinists understand that there's like violence and like force involved. At least they're willing to admit.
Isn't it written in the Communist Manifesto that there needs to be a violent revolution?
Well, the dictatorship, the proletariat, and everything. But there's different like schools of.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Whatever. But I feel like at least with the Stalinists and even like the Maoists, it's like they understand. Okay, we're gonna have to violently force people to do things.
At least they stab you in the front.
Yeah.
And the best thing about that is that most of the Stalinists are 19-something anxiety-ridden teenagers who can't stand going outside. So yeah, they understand violence, but they're never going to do it. So it's a nice little balance.
Relies on a shared understanding rather than a character-focused narrative. In this way, it even bucks the trend of normal storytelling. Usually, it's vital to see that your heroes liberate the horse people and lead the horse revolution and inspire victory with their powerful deeds and ideas. But in Sorry to Bother You, the horse people start fighting back off-screen while Cash is in a police van, and they free him. Look at it like this. The help...
Just as a kind of idea that popped in my head, wouldn't it then have kind of been cool for him to start to be scared of the horse people because they have become so different from him in terms of human?
Wouldn't it be interesting if, despite being 4% or whatever percent they are of the population, horse people commit?
Might be 13% of the population. Horse people commit 50% of the crime.
50% of what do you call it?
Hay theft.
Yeah.
No, also, the argument he just made, isn't it cool because it's subversive?
50% of trampolines.
Just the argument he made. Hey, this film is so cool because it does something different, without saying why that's cool.
To be honest with you, we've got to horse people. My brain is just like, okay, sure, whatever, man.
No, it's relevant social commentary.
Yeah, instead of leading the charge against the revolution, he's just sort of gets incarcerated somehow, and the revolution happens anyway.
Is that a metaphor of the supposed leader of a revolution getting arrested quite easily? Is that a metaphor for all wannabe communists?
I have a question. Does he inspire the horse people to do it? Or does it just so happen that they do it?
I don't know. You're looking at those horse people. I think that they look fucking terrifying, to be honest with you. I think they're going to revolt anyway. Look at the size of
He's
them.
leaving out a lot of context here that might be relevant.
You mean a communist sympathizer leaves out context? Ugh.
Well, context is white supremacy, so.
Oh, I forgot about that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
God damn it.
Easy to forget, yeah.
Horse
is
people.
pretty fucking terrible for a bunch of reasons. It centers the experience of a white woman who is very obviously an authorial insert rather than the experiences of black people. The story throws new characters in it.
Why does every story have to be the experiences of black people?
His issue isn't that the character is stupid and an author insert. His issue is with it's a white woman and it takes focus away from the black people.
But I thought white people, according to his own beliefs, are the ones that are basically in power. So they're the ones who have to change their actions, apparently. So why shouldn't it focus on what the white people have to do? Because if you have a movie where the black people just, they have their revolution or whatever, and they change their circumstances, isn't that bad? Because then that's implying that black people do have the power to change their circumstances, and that they're not kept down by white supremacy. And that would be bad.
And there's nothing. There's nothing wrong. Oh, apparently there is something wrong with having a female white woman who sympathizes with her black help and wants to write a book about. That's bad. Oh God, you can't have a protagonist who's white. It's like, what? Why not? She's sympathetic to the black people's condition back in the 30s and 40s or whatever time period this was in. It's like, oh no, it has to be a black protagonist. It's like, why? Why can't you have sympathy from anyone?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure a black woman in the 1930s and 40s would have the exact same power as a white woman in the 1930s and 40s. Considering the fact it's the 1930s and 40s and it was still bad for women of either colour, whatever. It makes no sense. Horse people.
Well, we're talking about a different film here, so he just jumped.
I know it's a different. I know it's a different film. I'm just saying horse people. We got to that.
I know that the juxtaposition between black people and horse people. Oh my God, we can't figure it out. Yeah.
Jarring, boozling moments. It was produced by 1492 Pictures, which isn't a great look for a film about racism. The main plot is
what? Are you literally saying Christopher Columbus shit now? 1492. Really? Oh my God!
Fuck off.
No, guys. It's the name of the studio. It's not the name of the year that Columbus sailed.
Yeah, but I know the name of the studio is just 1492. But he's literally.
It's also the name of.
That's the exact same year that Columbus sailed, and Columbus was racist. So the company must.
It's also
be racist.
the name of a film with a pretty kick-ass soundtrack.
Yeah. This is getting to the levels of Star Trek 5 is the same as Kirk Cameron saves. Kirk Cameron has the same name as Captain Kirk.
This reminds me of the time where CNN did parts about, hey, Trump elected 14 people there and he announced 88 people there. That means...
14, yeah, and you're like, oh my God. Why? 1492.
What a tenuous... what a tenuous connection.
Also, the real neo-Nazi numbers are 444 and 88.
I just want to redo history and find out it was actually December 31st, 1491, just to shut up all these idiots.
So this guy, the studio itself, I actually went through the list of the films they produced from 95 on, 9 months, Jingle All the Way, Stepmom, Bicentennial Man, Monkey Bone.
They made Jingle All the Way. That's a great movie.
Yeah, there's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Message coming in.
Harry Potter, Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter,
the
Prisoner
what?
of Azkaban.
The what?
Really? Christmas with the Cranks, Fantastic Four, Rent. It just keeps going on and on. So they've done all kinds of different films.
What a list of white supremacist movies.
Yeah.
My God, every single one of them has literally got Adolf Hitler on a unicycle in the background.
You want to know why it's called...
I remember it very well from Pixels.
You want to know why it's called 1492 Pictures? It's because the guy who founded it is called Christopher Columbus. That's the namesake of...
Oh my God, Christopher Columbus, the actual director. Wow. Okay. Yeah. He's wow. So he
That's
just
it.
went, "Huh, my name's Christopher Columbus. Wouldn't it be funny if I named it 14?
That's it.
Okay.
No, it's because he's racist.
And probably white.
Well, Harry Potter has a whole white cast, so yeah.
Oh
that
no,
is
no,
racist.
there's a
Cancel
black guy in
Harry.
Harry Potter.
No,
There's a
there
black guy in
isn't.
Harry Potter.
No,
Yeah, there
no. Shh. I'm getting Harry Potter cancelled.
Oh wow! Here,
Stop.
At least in the movies.
Cancel Harry Potter.
oh, that's what you wanted to say. Okay. It's a horrible production because of Harry Potter.
I feel like it would be more be cancelled because the Asian girl's called Cho Chang.
Oh yeah, she is as well.
All right, this I really like. I like this super chat from Tyler Preston just because I know the topic. All right, Curio believes that Catherine Full Body is a video game for incels. He also called it misogynistic, transphobic, etc. Curio is also an Anglo-Saxon.
What the?
Okay, so if the guys don't know Catherine Full Body, I believe that's the remake.
It's the remake
And
with the
in
extra card.
Yeah, and in that game, they have a trap, I believe, that you can have a relationship with.
Yeah.
So if it's misogynistic and you could have a whatever you call that, a bisexual relationship with this boy who's a girl.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on the pecking order for SJWisms? Is that misogynistic or
message coming in?
I think it's misogynistic because he's upset about it. Like he's not happy about that fact.
You can choose to pursue a relationship with one of three girls, two girls and a guy who's a trap. So, I mean, how is that how is that not progressive? Like, what more do you need to do in that game to be not misogynistic?
Not exist. Don't be a man.
You can't accidentally date a guy. It's like, whoa. Like, whoa.
Yeah. Do violence and delete yourself from
Watch
existence.
the sissy hypno bigot.
Like a Tetris game.
Give up your man card and become a sissy. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you see that tweet? I think it was a tweet, and it was like, "Oh, Joe Biden's gonna make us into sissy cat girls." It's like, no, he's not actually gonna. No, it's too late. I've already got my knee high socks. Like, no, it's too late. You can't stop me. No, this is happening. Like, no, he's not actually going to make you do it. No, it's happening.
It's happening. Don't ruin it for me.
He's not actually going to force you to. No, it's already happening. It's too late.
God, this rabbit hole of this video.
Here is Dr. Crow. I don't know how many times Dr. Crow has joined my server or joined my. He pops on and off all the time. I don't know what's up with Dr. Crow. Hey, Dr. Crow, how's it going? Existence is operation. Never be happy, be upset.
Oh.
Is that a reference to something? I'm trying to think.
I hope so. Don't be upset.
Because if you say existence is an operation, that'd be kind of scary. I hope not.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll ask him later.
Yeah.
What he meant by that one. I'll get back to you.
That's a loaded. I'm like, what does that mean? Yeah. Okay.
Posing racism as if the real problem was just that people didn't, know about the racism. A black domestic worker called Abilene, like the black maid Abilene in the story, tried to sue the writer of the original book for using her likeness without her consent. And if you're going to compare it against Sorry to Bother You, it makes the absolutely devastating crime of not featuring Lakeith Stanfield anywhere in the movie. One thing it consistently does is frame petty revenge.
Yeah, I want to know what he's talking about because we don't know the details of that reference.
Is that an actor that you like?
Lucky Stanfield?
I don't.
Wait, what did he say?
It didn't star somebody that he liked in it so bad.
Just rewind that.
Is it devastating? What? The black maid Abilene in the story tried to sue the writer of the original book for using her likeness without her consent. And if you're going to compare it against Sorry to Bother You, it makes the absolutely devastating crime of not featuring Lakeith Stanfield
Oh, Lakeith Stanfield. Okay. That's the guy, I believe, from the other film. So the film is bad because it doesn't have the character from the other film? Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's...
Okay.
Oh, Dr. Kurobata's super chat was not Operation Oppression, he meant. So, life is oppression.
Wow, I never thought about it like that.
Okay, that's a big difference of word there. Yeah,
He's got his phone, his spell checker went.
I would hate to think that we just had a conversation about having romantic relations with a a trap that existence is operation. Like, wait a second, what are you trying to say? Oh my god!
Just get a. If you don't like it, just get a buzzsaw out.
Just change everything. Oh my god!
Just go to town. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, to get back to this point.
One thing.
What was your point?
This means nothing. You can't just tame people. Get to your point. I don't care whether this film didn't have actor that you like in it. How can you not tame people? All you've told me is horse people, revolt, black person, sing song with N-word and shit in it. This other movie has white woman in it. I don't like white woman.
Well, the only thing he said concerning the topic is that, well, the phrase itself, you can't just tame people, and then the horse people did revolt with while the guy was in the car. So without him.
Okay.
Well, that was kind of everything concerning you can't just tame people.
Is he just going to bitch about this other, what's it called, Help? Is it called Help? I don't know what it's called. What's the other movie? What's the movie he's talking about right now?
The Help.
What was on Netflix? Not Sorry to Bother You. It was
No, The Help.
I can't hear.
It's based off a book called
The Help. Ah, right. So is he just going to spend the next couple of minutes just bitching about this movie?
Because it doesn't have the actor from the other movie.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether this is just they cover up just a bitch at this movie.
Who knows?
Because it's got white people, and it was from a book that was written by a white person, and he doesn't like white people because he's got white guilt. No.
It consists of, though, is frame petty revenge for injustice in a certain way. For example, Celia Foote tells Minnie that if she were being beaten by her husband, she would just hit him back. For example, if you only know one thing about the film, it's probably that...
But just as a sort of question, if somebody hits you and you hit them back, don't they then learn, well, maybe I shouldn't hit them because I'll get hit back?
God,
I should hit them harder so they can't hit back again.
I wonder which sort of people deal in petty revenge.
Also, isn't it the idea of just I would hit back? Wouldn't the general idea be I would fight back, and wouldn't that be the best idea, kind of, to fight back?
Well, if we're on the topic of whether or not you can tame people, usually the winner of said fight can then incarcerate the person or put them in a gulag and starve them and say, never do that ever again, or I'm never letting you out of here. And I'm quite sure you can tame people that way. So
yeah, quite easily. But I do like the fact that he's talking about how it's silly about petty revenge, and I'm like, bro, have you ever been on Twitter with the leftists? It's all about petty revenge. It's all we do. Petty revenge for everything.
I'm trying to see that in the context of the film, because those examples are very surface level, like what do you do when this happens? Where the film is about a girl trying to make a book out of the events of her housekeeper and her maid who raised her. So those are very specific scenes, and I don't think that's the gist or message of the film. It's not even
that's not petty. That's not petty revenge. If someone's using your life story to make money off of it, it's like, bitch, I want a bit of that. That's my life. I did these things. That's not petty revenge. That's just,
That's just like, hey, you should have asked me for my right to do this. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you should ask. That's not petty revenge. Petty revenge is, one of the cookie that I was saving is is gone. Oh, sorry, bro, I ate it. Oh, all right, don't worry about it. And then you set fire to the guy's car. That's petty revenge.
Petty revenge would be for something very insignificant. And one example he used is the woman saying if she was hit, she would hit back. That's not really petty revenge.
Yeah, it's like how Home Alone is a revenge fantasy, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. It's a fight between the poor and the proletariat. That's what, or the bourgeois and the poor.
It shows how the working class is kept down by the bourgeoisie.
For a person whose ideology wants to control words, they don't understand what a lot of words mean, do they?
Well, they have their own understanding of it that mostly doesn't overlap with others.
Because they don't know what petty is, and they don't know what revenge is, because what they do is just vindictive and vicious. But anyway, I digress.
Minnie feeds her racist ex-employer her shit baked into a pie. It's not that nobody would ever do this, but this was written by white people, and for a story that's trying to represent the era of white supremacy and the violent oppression of black people in the American South in the 60s, this feels like it was written by white people. You know what I would do if I experienced racism from one person? They could know.
Oh, sorry, I misclicked. I'm so sorry.
Oh God, we're going all the way back now. God damn you!
No, I was just like, how racist do you have to be to say this really feels like it was written by white people?
Yeah.
That just sounds so awful.
Does it come from the fact that for some reason these white simps, and I'm going to call them white simps because that's exactly what they are they that frightened of black people and think they're that dangerous and scary, and they actually do think that black people are literally going to be gunning for them, but they think, oh, if I just insult white people, I'll be spared. I mean, that's a very bad thing to have in your head, because there's no other reasons why I'd think anybody would say half the shit that these people say.
To me, it's just at what point, what kind of worldview do you have to say the phrase, it's obvious that this was written by white people?
Oh, yeah. Imagine, God, I hate racists, but by God, I hate white people so much. Just roll that back, say it again to me, and then let me just...
Yeah, it turns out the people who think you're racist are more racist than their targets.
Yeah, they are so. The thing is, what gets me is that they go, "Yeah, I like black people." Okay, why do you keep calling them black people? Well, because because that's all I see of them. Ah, right, okay. And I hate white people for always looking for, racists always look for color. That's exactly what you do. Yeah, but I'm not racist. I'm a good white person.
Well, no, but if you're colorblind, that's also racist. I don't say racist. Oh, well, you must hate black people then.
Oh, you can't be. You've got. Is it anti? It's not anti-racist. What's the word? Is it anti-racist to say you've got to
I think like
it's not racist. You got to be anti-racist.
Anti-racist. You got to always constantly think about how do the brown people feel. That's the only thing you're allowed to think about. Every single movie, every single TV show, it all has to be about how bad white people are, and how do the brown people feel about it?
To anyone who thinks like that, my best advice is think about how the coloured community, brown people, black people, purple people, yellow people, think about your breathing, and then just stop doing it, because it'll solve a lot of problems.
No, I'll just arrive. In front of them, open my trench coat, and say, "Hey, want to try some individuality or individualism? It's nice."
Well, that's white supremacy, though. That's a white supremacist value.
Well, it is a supreme value to collectivism.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
Here is Joe Crazy. Hey, Joe, thanks again. It just feels it was written by white people. This dude must not look at the mirror, this dude must not look at himself in the mirror. He's if you watch his other videos, I think he has to look at himself in the mirror for the makeup he puts on. So,
by the way, isn't one of his videos about him being non-binary?
Oh, he has a bunch of videos where he dresses up and does a lot of makeup.
Wow, a billion-piece jigsaw has just fallen into place with that sentence then. Wow. At first I was confused, but now everything makes sense. It's like the ending of a bloody Poirot film. The little grey cells have just all got together. Now I understand.
I've never seen a non-binary chav.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen
someone in a tracksuit. You know, somebody who goes about in a tracksuit with all their friends. Say that they're non-binary. I've never seen someone like that. Or someone on a council date being like, "Oh, I'm non-binary, by the way." Like, no.
Yeah, never seen that.
It's always the most like middle class people.
In the town that I live in, I have 2 transgender friends, and until they actually tell you that they're transgender, you would never know that they are. It's not something that people shout to the high heavens. But you never see Dollface just said, "I'm non-binary," and they're like from a rough working class background. It always usually tends to be, "Mummy and Daddy haven't paid attention to me in this 18-bedroom mansion. I guess I'm non-binary today to get a little bit of attention."
Like Eddie Izzard apparently is some, I don't know, something.
The one thing that I find so strange is how it has become such a trend to kind of like see transgender as its own thing, when literally every transgender person I've ever met in person, I've met quite a few because I once was super interested to go there. Sometimes on meetings for people like that, and I was like, oh, why not go there, talk to the people, give us as interested. And well, being transgender is just a process from going from A to B. With everyone there, they're like, "No, I'm a woman," or "No, I'm a man." So it always confuses me.
Even people who are intersex, who actually have like actual organs from 2 different sexes, still identify as basically one or the other. They don't identify as some third thing. Like 98% of the time, they'll still just go like, "No, they're just a man," or "They're just a woman." And also, I don't think there's any case where both genitals work. Like in the case where someone has both,
they're usually infertile.
There's normally
hermaphrodites usually are infertile.
Yeah, I don't think there's a case of a hermaphrodite being able to impregnate themselves. I don't think that's
well, generally impregnate anyone.
Something, Dollface. That would have been the strangest thing I've ever heard today. But
apart from this video.
This video's playing, so I'm a bit like, you know what, this is just,
The current topic is the idea of this woman making a shit pie for her employer. So, yeah.
Are we now saying shit pie as in women can't cook?
No.
They should spend more time on
it's white. No, because white women don't season their food.
No, she made a shit.
Food.
She made a shit pie, and then the camera zooms down, and you see the video we're watching.
Yes.
Philosopher
it's not that nobody would ever do this, but this was written by white people, and for a story that's trying to
oh my god, how many
terror
times
of white supremacy and the violent oppression of black people in the American South in the 60s, this feels like it was written by white people. You know what I would do if I experienced racism from one person, the racist? I'd bake the racist a pie, and I'd put a dookie in it, and then I'd watch when they ate the dookie pie. If I were black, I would think
you are so pathetic.
Between this, Minnie being...
Let's just go back.
Just pun?
If I met the racist, I would make the racist a pie with a dookie
also,
in it. Wow, really?
I think he's being like sarcastic or whatever, or saying like, no, it's systemic. You don't understand. It's systemic. It's institutional.
This video kind of reminds me how it has become a trend to desperately link shit to racism or the slave trade. Even just even in countries that never participated in the slave trade, they're so desperate to fall over themselves to find some link to it.
Yeah.
Like some citizens of that state had some shares in some companies that benefited from the slave trade.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of this. It's like, oh, there's White people made it.
Who knew a guy, 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 who owed money to this guy who he knew this guy, who knew this guy, who saw Bigfoot, so it's real.
And they were roommates.
Yeah. That's a Spaceballs reference.
Mr. Pie, and I'd put a dookie in it, and then I'd watch when they ate the dookie pie. If I were black, I would simply debate the racism. Between this, Minnie being given the helpful tip to not be with her abusive husband.
So wait a second. If if you were the black lady in this example, you wouldn't make the dookie pie. You just talk to your employer about racism. But if
No. He wouldn't debate. He's saying it's silly to say that you would debate the racism, that you shouldn't debate it because something about like power structures and shit. He's saying
debating in it would be engaging with the enemy on their turf.
Yeah. See, that's like giving it legitimacy by debating it.
Just the idea.
I think he made the example to say that if he was the white woman in this example, she made the shit pie, and if he was the black woman, he would argue it.
No. He's saying that's what the movie's saying, and he's saying that's wrong.
Oh, okay.
So,
he's saying that's clearly a privileged white person's position, and only a white person would make this movie because any black person would know it's not that simple because they're so oppressed.
Just the idea that that's a thing in the movie is kind of like, oh dear. I already don't want to see this film.
This just always reminds me of.
Can I just say, if it's in the 1960s, a black woman doing this to a white woman in the southern state, not actually the best plan to do that, considering.
Would that be a felony? Would that be like attempted murder?
Yeah. I'm just saying it wouldn't even matter if it wasn't. This is in the southern states in the 1960s. That's like taking a dump on Stalin's desk in communist Russia because he fired you. You're not going to get out of that, very well.
Yeah.
Clearly never thought of.
Videos like these always remind me of the chat I once had with my former basketball trainer. He was a Tamil who was not very tall. He looked very fat but was super fit. And the funny thing is, just when we chatted about it, he was like, it kind of makes sense that people react to me differently. Most people around them, first off, they aren't black. Second off, they aren't like my stature, like pretty huge in a way. And so it's like, of course, people are first taken aback because, I look extremely unique.
Well, have you seen?
It just always reminds me of that.
Have you seen videos of especially blonde white women in African villages?
My sister's very blonde. She once was at
the whole village just.
She once went to Dubai, and she told me she would never go there without a man in her company.
That's smart.
Well, it's like with me, since I'm incredibly attractive and I live in the north of England, people since they're not used to it.
I just find that so interesting. It's just so often stuff people call racist is just sometimes it just purely is racism, but it also just can be explained through different means. People just having bad experiences, people X, Y, Z. And sure, it's often wrong, like almost always wrong, to just judge someone by their looks. Well, I would say always wrong. Mm-hmm. But, if you then just go like, oh, racist, and never try to get to that person, figure them out, and stuff like that. Like the one black jazz musician did in the US who started chatting with Ku Klux Klan members. Mm-hmm. And then kind of dismantled the local Ku Klux Klan presence and shit like that because they were like, oh my god, that's a really cool guy. Mm-hmm. So not all black people are bad, so maybe my thoughts were wrong.
I just feel that racism now is just a word to end the debate, but the person knows they can't win.
It's just a thing to fight against. And so
No,
they
it's not even that. It's not even that. I don't think people who claim to fight against racism truly want to end racism because they'd be out of.
Oh yeah, I don't think that either, but I think they want it. They
But
keep making it exist so they can keep fighting because they need something to fight against.
yes, yeah, but they also just say racist to everything, just so that it exists, and people just use racist now, not because the person's racist. But
Well, I think
because
it's kind
the
of
person thinks different.
Isn't it the sort of, is it Trotsky that has the idea of the eternal revolution, that there's always some other thing to have some revolution about? There always has to be some
Trotsky's
new
also
thing.
got an ice pick in his head, so I'm not really going to.
Wouldn't that be great? You won this wonderful revolution, and you realize within your own ranks there's people who disagree with you, and you have to go against them, and he keeps going and going.
It's the ever shrinking circle.
Permanent revolution, I think.
Yeah, permanent revolution.
Was
permanent
Trotsky
revolution.
called
But yeah, it's
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's the ever shrinking circle that will destroy the left if they keep going down the route, because they want everyone to be exact. They want to tame everyone to be exactly the same. Bring it back to the video. But unfortunately, there's so many different things that they can't all be the same, and it just gets a smaller and smaller circle. More and more things end up on the outside of that circle than on the inside.
You know, one thing I kind of find fascinating is to sometimes see like stories of people going to events where then they start making groups of how oppressed they are, and then the groups keep getting smaller and smaller because of all these different factors. And in a way, when you continue that logic, at some point you will inevitably end up at the individual as being the most quote-unquote oppressed group there is. And then I'm like, well, hello, welcome back to individualism.
Well, the most oppressed group is gamers. I think we all know this.
Well, true enough.
Is that gamers or gamers with a hard R?
You could say gamer. Gamers are
gamer.
You could say gamer.
Before, and the main plotline of the journalistic expose on all the racism, it creates this world where people who experience oppression just need to have the idea to not be oppressed anymore. Or in the white main character's case, the idea to care about black people. In the world of The Help, people can be mistreated, fired, abused, killed, and they just want the idea that they should change something. In one way, this is only subtly different to how liberation works in Sorry to Bother You, and in another, much more real way, these two films are worlds apart. See, in The Help, ideas come from individual special people, usually white, and everyone else is just living in a false consciousness until they're given the idea. In Sorry to Bother You, however, people are slowly pushed into poverty, into systemic abuse, and so on, because they know nobody else is speaking up, nobody else is fighting back, and they know they can't change things on their own.
I tried to change it. I tried to stop it, but it's just right in front of their faces. They're turning human beings into monstrosities, and nobody gives a fuck.
Most people that saw you on that screen knew calling their congressman wasn't going to do shit. If you get shown a problem, but have no idea how to control it, then you just decide to get used to the problem.
And that's why our plan for tomorrow.
You know, one thing I find a bit strange about this part is because I haven't seen either film, I can't say if he's fair or not with the comparison, because it could be that the films are, while dealing with a similar topic, trying to tackle it completely and utterly differently, and so this comparison might not really work at all.
I think the whole problem with this premise is that he's talking about this is how oppressed people should act. Here's the hot take: black people aren't oppressed. Okay, that's the hot take. They are not an oppressed group. Fuck you, you're wrong. Like, that's the whole premise of this video, is that black people are oppressed. Like, no.
I like the way he's trying. I like the way he's saying black people shouldn't behave like that. They should behave like this. This is how black people should behave. Look, I'm not racist.
It's just like this. Having a constitution is usually very helpful.
I'm just
Because
I'm expecting to go like, oh, well, I didn't see anyone eating chicken wings in The Help or whatever. So obviously they don't know anything about black culture. And I'm like, whoa, okay, wait, what?
They don't have the exaggerated swagger.
Honestly, it kind of has reached a point where I feel like people see being put into a box as oppression. So as soon as they see a stereotype that kind of looks like them, they go like, "Oh my god, I'm oppressed because they're putting me into a box." When it might just be, you know, their character in that film just happens to be that.
Yeah.
I think I just was going through this guy's IMDb database. I think he plays L in the Netflix adaptation of Death Note.
Oh my god.
Cool. Does that mean it's good for this guy?
Oh no, that's a bad.
No.
Yeah, no. I mean. Okay, for sane people, it's a no. But to this guy, is it? Does he like it just because this actor's in it?
I just personally love how the Netflix adaptation meme is probably the most true meme ever.
Yeah. I just don't know what he means by taming people now anymore, because he's just literally going on a.
You're right.
He's more bitching about a Netflix adaptation isn't like Sorry to Bother You. Cool.
Well, and a lot about I don't even know quite know what the point of the video is.
Yeah, that's like me going, God, if only, Lord of the Rings is more like Care Bears, then it would be amazing. Anyway, racism. You can't just tame people. YouTube money, please.
It's important. Because if we stop them from crossing the picket line this time, we win.
It's a good plan. Yeah. Tomorrow we show them how to give fucks.
But when the oppressors try to pull off something seriously awful, say turning them all into horse people, they know they're mad, they know everyone else is as mad as they are, and they know that now is their moment. Each time a black person is killed by American police, the chant gets...
Whoa, slow down.
Find me a fucking river, dude. I don't fucking care.
What just happened?
Shall we just do simple maths? Because more white people get shot, but you don't want to listen to that. But hey, do go on.
It's not even fucking worth it getting into statistics.
You want to know a fun thing? There have been Black Lives Matter marches in Switzerland. And I was like, that's curious. I never heard about anything concerning police brutality. So I started looking, and I didn't find one single case of a person being shot by the police.
Yeah, I live in Northern Ireland.
Not one.
I live in Northern Ireland, and do you know how many black people there are in Northern Ireland? I think it's like 3,000 total. Like in Northern Ireland, I don't even know any black people, honestly. I literally but they still have these marches and shit, and it's like, dude, I literally don't even know any black people.
What I love is that I'm not aware of a single story of police brutality coming out of Switzerland. I am not aware of one. That's the origin for Black Lives Matter, and they have these marches.
But it's not even true, like in America, because they just go, look, there's big number. Big number. Oh no! Like
9. You're like, okay, what is the number? Oh, 9.
Dumb,
9, as in like 900, 9,000. No, 9.
9 innocent black toddlers? No. They were adults. Oh well, they were innocent, right? Oh well, no, they were committing crimes. Oh well, okay, well, it's okay, every single time, fucking time. It's just
for me, it's just.
Sorry, Fletcher, continue. Yeah.
Yeah. For me personally, it's even funny if you have it in a country. First off, with barely any, with not a big black population. Secondly, with not a, I think I couldn't find a single number of police deaths in police custody. I couldn't find it. So to me, that's even funny in a country like that. That's just so far removed from everything.
I think that the lie that becomes apparent is that it has nothing to do with the slave trade or with Jim Crow or any of this bullshit, because it's this exact same shit in every single country that has white people and a black minority. Like every single, it doesn't matter what the history in that particular country is, they're still gonna talk about oppression. They're still gonna complain. They're still gonna blame white people. It's just nonsense.
Yeah, it is. The town that I live in had a Black Lives march, and it was 100% white people in the march. 100% white people. And it was embarrassing. It was utterly embarrassing.
But are those white people? Would those be? Are those people like the white people in The Help, or are they like the people in Sorry to Bother You?
They're more of the sort of people who wear Che Guevara t-shirts and wave communist flags.
There's a Che Guevara coffee shop somewhere like around like Queen's
in the
University
world, somewhere in the world.
No, in Belfast, and somewhere like near like the university. There's a coffee shop that has like Che Guevara like iconography and shit.
I guess well, with us it's not that quite yet, but I think we're still a bit too stuck with people not understanding what grammatical gender is and then raging at it.
I just feel that Black Lives Matter was the biggest load of bullshit that has ever existed.
Have you ever looked into how much money in donation they made, and then looked into what they did with the money?
Yeah. Once you actually started asking people about it, and the reason they went, "Oh, I support it," why? Well, Facebook said that I'd get likes if I supported it. So you don't really care, do you? Oh no.
But it's the fact that like I just it's just mad. Like the defund the police shit. It's like what? How the fuck do you get from, well, this is bad, to we just shouldn't have police at all? Like it's just like, well, hang on a minute, and then they'll say, oh well, it's not political. It's not political. It's just being a decent human being. And by not political, they mean completely defund the police. And if you don't disagree, you're an evil white supremacist. Like it's.
I love how the people who always say they're decent human beings are usually the least decent human beings around.
Well, there's plenty of arguments.
People at these sort of protests.
There's plenty of arguments in the municipal level of government to turn how funding is used. So where they get a new councillor on the council to say, okay, we're going to change the budget. Now we're only going to associate this many funds for roads and rebuilding, as opposed to police services or what have you. So that's an ongoing argument. And in some cases, in some towns, in some parts of America, they do have some problems with overspending or not enough spending or whatever, because they want other things to go into other funding, like community services or what have you. So there are arguments to be made, and that's a good argument to have, because that's how cities and municipalities and societies work. You have to constantly balance out the funds and taxes and use them appropriately. So that's cool. The problem is, because it's using this man's death as sort of this pinnacle. It's like, here's this horrific thing that's happened. Now we got to really talk about the issue. It's like, well, people die every day in the States of gun-related deaths, crime-related deaths, all sorts of deaths from police. But statistically, it's not really relevant. It doesn't really show.
I mean, this idea, they literally say, like,
everyone remember the Chaz? Everyone remember Chaz?
Oh yeah.
What was their murder rate of black people?
Well, didn't their like own like sort of pseudo police force kill some
shoot black people? Yes.
Yeah.
Shoot
the first thing they did was establish borders. The second thing was having a police force.
The police force. Yeah. This non-police force free open border utopia within 5 hours had a security force and borders. And a warlord leader. So
just shortly to go back what Smart said, I think you're completely correct that there are problems and you can talk about them and you would have to go in detail. It's just these days, most people are like, no, this is the problem, and they take something extremely surface level and just make that the focus.
But they also take it to the extreme.
Oh God, yeah. Aside from the Twitter handle or whatever, the Twitter hashtag of BLM, there's all cops are bad or ACAB, and that's where I'm like, okay, you've gone too far. That is pushing the reign of discourse, saying
it's just this hysteria of black people, they can't even walk out the door without being shot. It's like, no, you're wrong.
My favorite example is just that almost all women I know, except for my flatmate, are afraid to walk alone in the dark because they're always super afraid of getting attacked and all that awful stuff. And when you look into the statistics, almost no women are victims of attacks.
Yeah, women are very unlikely.
Do you know where most women get attacked?
Yes, like in their own home, right?
No, at marches and parades.
Okay, that is deliciously ironic.
Yeah, that's true. Because a lot of the people there are sex offenders and rapists. You find a lot of them hiding in these places.
Well, that was the thing with what's it called? Rittenhouse, the people that he shot.
Yeah. One of them was a paedophile. The other one was a wife beater.
What a coincidence!
Yeah,
scum, literal scum. At a Black Lives Matter rally. What a coincidence!
Yeah, but it's not everybody.
What are the chances?
The free he got 100% hit rate. Of all 3 people that he managed to get, all 3 of them were degenerate scum.
What a coincidence!
That's like, okay. If you got a 4th person and it turned out to still be scum, what would you say then? Best out of 10?
Here is Alex Halo. I think he's left the chat because he's got to go. Thanks, Alex. They try to go to Japan to protest, the country where the police complain their job is too easy. There's barely any crime, and they get thrown out. Yeah, Japan.
You know what else there's barely any of in Japan?
Japan's like, get out of here. We don't care. Yeah, you break the rules, you're out of here.
What I also like is they talk about police brutality. These people, and then you mention China, and they're like, "What? No, it's all right, it's fine." What are you on about?
One thing that I'm fascinating. Often I encounter people talking about police brutality and everything coming from the US, and then talking about, oh look, all those European countries do so well with certain things. And then when it comes to stuff like police brutality and everything, they just completely ignore everything. They're just like, no, we need to abolish them.
Yeah. It's like in the UK, we're talking about police violence during Black Lives Matter. The only pictures of police during Black Lives Matter were them taking the knee. They didn't. They ran away. Honest to God, the police ran away 90% of the time in London. Black Lives Matter.
This sometimes hits me out.
The lockdown protests. They have been battering the crap out of people, literally beating them bloody on the ground.
The last time we had a black bloc protest, the police was there immediately. Like, don't try anything.
No, ours just run away. They are so frightened. They are so frightened of the coloured community. They are absolutely the police in London are absolutely terrified of it. Absolutely terrified that there's something wrong. The Met Police are so woke.
But to get back to the video, I'm curious what he's going to say in the last minute.
I'd like to know how you can tame people, to be honest with you.
Well,
so anyway, I'm an anarchist.
Yeah, no. He jumped from talking about a film directly into politics. It was just like, there was no pause. It just went zoop.
So, I bet it will be something, capitalism is bad, here's my Patreon.
Yeah.
Oh, they're mad. They know everyone else is as mad as they are, and they know that now is their moment. Each time a black person is killed by American police, the chant gets louder. Every time people can see police getting away with murder, more people call out to abolish the police, to fight back against white supremacy, and each time more people hear that call. And then, as peaceful protests are met by absolutely stupendous and absurd displays of militaristic police violence, they know they're mad. They know everyone else
peaceful protests. So hold on a minute. Let me see if I understand this. Yeah.
I literally militaristic. The UK police ran away. They ran away and took the knee. They were kneeling in front of people. They were getting battered to death.
Wasn't it the case in
the British police suffered 27 casualties in one day to peaceful Black Lives Matter protesters. 27 police officers were battered. And
wasn't it the case in the US that the federal guard had to protect some stuff because the police wouldn't do shit?
No, that was white supremacy.
People getting shot. Black Lives Matter killed more black people in 1 year than the entire American police force did in 1 year. Within a month.
It's just so fascinating to see this.
Everything you just said about, oh well, see, everyone's seeing, they're all mad. Like, no, most people aren't on board. Okay, most people do, like the views, like since June, the views of the average white person of Black Lives Matter has been going down. Like it has not improved their view of the movement at all.
Also, I will say one thing. If you notice,
message coming in.
Now that less normies are involved with Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter has just now turned to pretty much just rioting. There isn't peaceful protest. It's like, it turned out that all these white guilt normies were the only ones keeping a semblance.
Yeah, and it's the double think of it's the double think of at one point they're peaceful protests, but on the other hand, if they were riots, that would be fine because riots is justified because we live in a white supremacist system. Like it's literally, I've seen like so many articles that are literally just no, rioting is justified, and they should just be able to take your stuff and possibly kill you. Because that they're just forced to do it. That's what they're forced to do. They have to do it. The system is so bad.
Yeah, bear in mind the people who support Black Lives Matter and getting into these large groups and protesting and causing riots and injuring people, call the exact same people who go to anti-lockdown protests murderers and killers, and it's wrong. And you shouldn't be rioting and protesting about government the government.
You don't understand. You don't understand. I need to steal this flat screen TV to defeat white supremacy. I need
reparations.
The government is so oppressive. We've got to stop it because they're killing black people. All right. Well, why don't you join us to oppose the lockdown restrictions, which are getting oppressive? No, bro. Lol.
That will kill grandma.
There were stories of black women who owned storefronts or stores that had the entire storefronts destroyed and robbed. So these robbers don't care. They honestly do not care about the message. They're just there to cause havoc and steal stuff.
Yeah, can I just say, if you've got to put in your window, please don't rob me, I'm black as well, then the protests aren't peaceful. If you have to put that up beforehand, you know they're not peaceful. Stop lying to these people.
It's awfully reminiscent of Kristallnacht.
Yeah.
Where they put in there, it's just kind of reversed. Instead of saying, hey, this shop is owned by blacks, don't hit it. It's this shop is owned by Jews, let's hit it.
Yeah. But like Smud says, they don't actually care because they're just criminals.
Yeah, that's true.
Smash it up are criminals, they just don't care. But I can understand the comparison you made there.
Well, I think nobody's putting white-owned business on their door to stop themselves being robbed. Okay, that's.
Yeah.
I think it is just racial.
Also,
if you tag the thing to say that it's specifically white-owned, I think they would target it. I think they would go out of the way to make sure that they get that one. I don't think they're just chaos or whatever.
What? There's a movie. I can't remember, and there's a scene that, and I'm sure it's like one of the bad guys. He goes, "Wait, but I was on your side. I was on your side." As he's getting taken away to be like shot, he goes, "But I did everything you said. I was on your side." And like the villain goes, "I don't care." And that's what it feels like.
Did you see that video? The video where it's the guys in their apartment and they were like giving the thumbs up, and then a brick just comes through their window.
Yeah. We're on your side. Yeah,
we're on your side. Bang.
There's a movie or something. I can't. I'll have to try and think of it. But yeah, that's what it all sounds. it's fucking pathetic. I have no.
One thing I would say is that there will be opportunists in every kind of like march or protest that just look for action. I think the big issue is that if you bring up that there were opportunists, people are like, no, there were just peaceful protesters there. Look at the peaceful protesters, just ignore those others.
Fiery, but mostly peaceful protests.
The fact that after a peaceful protest, the surrounding area looks like concept art for the next Fallout game always makes you question. You know.
Here is
silence is violence, but mass amounts of violence is perfectly fine.
Here's Hussar Zve, thank you. Russia, that's cute. Russia is indeed cute, but I think he's referring to something else. Oh boy.
How many Black Lives Matter protests were there in Russia?
Probably not.
Yeah, I always have to question those things. How many were in China? Anyone have a check?
It's possible. I haven't heard any stories. Anyway, here's
any stories out of China anyway.
Here's a donation from Taker610. Thank you, sir. Floyd had lethal levels of fentanyl in his system. I think any level of fentanyl in your system is lethal, so you got to be very careful if you ever wanted to try that.
Yeah.
Fentanyl causes respiratory distress. The same restraint technique has been used hundreds of times in Minneapolis alone. The difference was this time the perp had overdosed on drugs. So yeah, if you have any sort of...
I think even if it was just straight up murder, there's no evidence that it's racially motivated. And the statistics don't say that we should expect it to be racially motivated.
The great thing
about
one thing
it's...
Yeah, like you actually see... The reason why they didn't release the cam footage of George Floyd after his death was it would have caused even more riots, because there would be people saying, well, look, this is what actually happened. This was like a 40-minute process between George calling for help and what he was doing, because he was always screaming. He was always like, I can't breathe. That's why he was in the car. So they rolled down the windows. He was laying down on the floor. No, they wouldn't let him. So they let him out of the car. He kept complaining and complaining. So he was having problems breathing before all this started. So they didn't know what to do with this guy who was just screaming like crazy.
Also, from what I saw, it's that to actually really restrict breathing into a person who's very healthy and not on drugs or anything, you would have to be more on the front of the throat.
I mean, also, he didn't die at the scene. Like, he didn't die on the ground there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like he choked him out until death, like, right there. Which is what seems to be implied to have happened, but that's not what.
Yeah, even with all of that just reminded me of one discussion I once had with a co-worker when asked. It was like when she said, "Oh, this was clearly racist." I'm like, "How do you know?" And she said, "I mean, look at it." I'm like,
black.
"Well, I've seen it. So what about it is racist?" And she mean it. And she said, "I mean, it's obvious." And I was like, "Well, what about makes it obvious?" And I tried so hard to get her to say, like, it's a white guy doing it to a black guy.
Exactly. It's just over-interpretation. It's just because you're looking for it. And people are primed to look for it. They're constantly told how racist society is and how they should expect society to be so racist, as though any inkling of it, they're like, oh, see, there it is. There's the racism. Because they're looking for it.
Just how my sister once explained to me that she believes that men are on top and women are on the bottom. It's because she constantly has been fed that stuff.
God,
yeah, but it's also because a lot of women are lazy and enjoy missionary. So
here is Hussar Zve again. Thank you, sir. Oh boy, the Kristallnacht was just peaceful protests. CNN. Oh, thanks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was.
What happened in Tiananmen Square in 1989? Nothing happened.
Keine Sorge, die Kristallnacht war nur ein friedlicher Protest.
I was about to say Peterloo, but that was actually quite violent. That's a bit of British history.
There's a really interesting study in terms of perceiving discrimination, which is basically what they do is they get people to put on they have this like scar makeup like put on them to give them like some kind of facial deformity or some scar or whatever, And then without telling them, they wipe it off. Like they tell them that they're sealing it on, but they've actually just wiped the scar off. And so now they don't have the scar on their face, but they think they do. And then they go in to have this interview with someone, and then they're asked after this interview, do you think the interviewer was treating you differently because of this scar? And inevitably, they will say, oh yeah, I could tell that they were treating me differently and that they thought there was something wrong with me or that they were judging me or whatever. And it's like, they didn't have the scar. So the reality is they didn't have the scar. None of that was happening. They just, because they believed that it was happening, they genuinely thought that they experienced it. So like, I feel like that's kind of what's happening here is that it's like, oh, look, see that because they're told to expect it. And so they say this and they go, oh, look, well, he's white and he's black. There you go. Problem solved.
Well, then
racist.
They're not only told to expect it, that they're told it's literally everywhere.
Yeah, it's so pervasive. It's everywhere.
What always gets me is these people who do it. They're literally like, there's two things I hate in this world: people who are racist
and black
French. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the French. The fucking.
Can't we all just come together and agree that the world would be better without the French?
They're fucking croissants.
But yeah,
All
we've got how long we got left of this video?
We got 30 seconds. We're good.
30 seconds. Well, question: how do you tame people?
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't really talk that much about
you
that.
You just can't do it, man. It's just not possible. There's no possible way to do it.
He could have said, he could have started the video with, well, you just can't do it. Yeah. Don't try. And then
hold on. Wait, hold on. You can't tame people. Like, you can't make people just follow a slogan mindlessly, even though they know nothing about it.
The military is completely useless. Schools are completely useless. Daycare, any kind of training, nothing.
Oh, I'm just talking about Black Lives Matter. Look how they managed to tame all those people to follow all that.
But wasn't the movie he was talking about? Didn't that have all the people like basically know about the thing and just not care, just not do anything because they were tamed essentially?
I don't
because they buy all the propaganda and the advertising and whatever.
I think the person who made this video should watch the film Die Welle, The Wave, which was a German film that's based on an experiment once done that exactly shows how easy it is to make people, to tame people and make them kind of become more extreme.
Yeah.
So there are techniques for taming people, for exciting people, for stimulating people, for boring people. There's all sorts of techniques. And this goes on for at least 100 years of psychological history. You can learn about Pavlov, you can learn about Skinner. So there's plenty of examples for both conditions, whether you're trying to keep them conditioned or to decondition them. It's fantastic. Humans are very pliable. So, Hussar Zve, here we go. Here's another wonderful quote. Hitler was a champion of social justice. And that's from Jeremy Corbyn. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Hitler did nothing wrong.
Jeez.
It's not the weirdest thing. Really, it's not the weirdest thing you'll hear on this stream.
Oh dear. Anyway, let's finish this one off.
Because you can't just tame people.
Oh.
Sorry to bother.
That's it. That was it. That was the. You just can't.
God, I knew it.
What?
Not possible.
What?
What?
That was the biggest non sequitur since. By the way, I'm an anarchist.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, I think my favorite non sequitur still is I really hate Trump.
Here's the thing.
I fucking hate Trump. He embarrasses me every day.
But yeah, he didn't. Did he even cover the topic of taming people?
No.
I'm not even sure that was the topic of the video.
Topic. Yeah. Was it just? What was his video? Just
racism in two films. That's about it. Yeah.
Also,
These people make money as well.
Yeah, I know. They always make money. They talk a lot about postmodern. They talk a lot about postmodernist ideals and neo-Marxist ideals.
No,
I
never want to see that horseman ever again. Ugh,
they always make cash from this stuff.
Did you see anything else after that thing, or is that literally just
what the hell kind of a logo? What is a picture of a goat with?
Oh.
What the hell is going on here? Is that icing on his eyebrows? Like what's happening here?
I don't know. I think it could be related to his name Curio, which is supposed to be a curious object.
I thought it was like a gift.
What the fuck is that a what is it on the Patreon logo? Is that a trans knife thing?
I think so.
Wow.
No, I don't care. Well, let's put it this way. I care about his patron and his views as much as he cared about this damn video, which was not at all.
Well, compared to his other videos, it's not as popular, so I don't know what his goal was, but it sounded a little off message if he wanted to address the concept of psychological conditioning.
We dodged a bullet with this guy. We really dodged a bullet because we could have done that Last of Us bloody review.
Oh God, yeah. Well, it's still on the list. It's still on the docket, so we might have to do that eventually. But I don't know if you guys want to ever touch that.
Unfortunately, I'm having my leg amputated that day, so I'll be unavailable.
I'll be
doing it myself.
All right. Well, that was a really quick evening on the Smudcast. Less than 2 hours. Always nice to be nice and quick with these things when there's not much to them. We don't want to waste anyone's time. But yeah, Curio. We have other things on the list. We have some renegade cuts on the list. We've got other weird, political ideologues to address in their stuff. So we sometimes do that, and hopefully next video we can switch it up and do something a little more fun. Last video was kind of cool. We talked about game design. I like those topics just because I studied that.
Yeah.
And I like when people...
Oh, you studied game design?
Yeah, I got a degree or a diploma in video game design and development. So I knew a little bit about making games.
Canadian degree, so it's like half a proper degree.
Oh yeah.
So.
Well, I quit uni before I could get any degree. So.
Oh.
I'm joking, Smud. Please don't kill me.
All right. Anyway, guys, keep recommending videos. Keep voting on them in the Discord. I try to watch all of them. I still have a backlog of... I'm making a 5th voting channel eventually, either today or tomorrow, because I'm just going through all the recommendations. And I'm throwing out a lot because they're exceptionally long, like over an hour. And it's a lot of rambling that I'm trying to shy away from. I'm not against people rambling, but because we've had some really scary Maggie May Fish videos, which are just so painful, and I can only assume there's very passionate, crazy people out there that I don't know. So I don't have to. I don't want to watch the entire film to find, or the entire video to find out that they're crazy. But yeah, try to stay away. Anyway,
yeah.
Here's a quick donation from Taker610 again, just to close this off. You guys should try the Wisecrack video about Disney ruining culture. EFAP covered it a few weeks back.
Yeah, I think EFAP did that.
Didn't Smudcast cover it already?
I think so. Did this podcast cover it before EFAP covered it? I think.
Yeah.
No, I think both covered them.
Yeah, but I think Smudcast covered it first.
Disney ruined culture. Yeah, I think I've seen. Yeah.
I think we did cover that. That's not with the main guy though. That's with the what's his face?
Isn't it the new main guy?
The new guy.
Oh yeah. We did do that.
Guy?
Yeah, that was. Let me just search for that. How Disney ruined culture. Well, if my name pops up.
Well, we talks about Disney taking stuff and then cutesifying it.
Yes, it was Smudcast number 129. So that was a month ago. We did cover it. Yeah, that was with Shineying and LiteratureDevil.
Well, it was before it was before I came on. So obviously people have forgotten since.
Shiny's so sensitive to these things. Lit Dev's usually busy. Like, he was supposed to come on the Smudcast on it was yesterday, and he wanted to come on. He said, I'm free Sunday. I'm like, great. But I already asked, like, that hour. He didn't contact me until while the show was going on. By then, we had like a full house. And I'm like, damn it. So these things happen. Yeah, they're too busy. They're too busy guys. They're too busy guys. Glib is gone. I don't know where he ran off to. So.
Oh no, yeah,
people pinging him.
Thinking of him, yeah.
Everyone ping thing.
Everyone pinged. Yes, chat. We're talking to you. You know who you are.
Yeah. So
maybe last night.
Maybe I need to get a moderator on the Discord. Might be a useful idea. So, but
Matthias, just raise your hand.
We've been pretty friendly. Like, we've been pretty good on the Discord. I've seen other Discords where they fight and scream. I'm like, you know what, guys?
Oh God. You
want to fight? I don't care. I have no problems. I have no rules for discourse. Obviously, you should keep it civil. But if you want to swear and that's what you think is an argument. I mean, try it.
I mean, come on.
You trust us to little adults, which I like.
Yeah.
Though sometimes stuff sneaks by.
What I laugh about is the fact that there's no scream. There's not that much screaming and shouting on someone's discourse, and Zach Reeds is on that, and all he does is scream and shout.
Zach is pretty good. No, Zach with me is very nice. He's a friendly guy. At least when I've talked to him. Maybe on your on your channels or your streams, he's a bit nuts. But I think it's what time of the day he's had his coffee, because the last time he was on, he was really excited.
Oh yeah, he was gone. Yeah,
nothing. He was just like, I don't care. Yeah, okay.
I think that video. I think the minute he found out that he predicted Dungeons and Dragons, I think he just went, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm done now."
That was kind of fun, actually. Anyway, thanks guys for the recommendation and for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys real soon, hopefully tomorrow. And have a good. When is I'm trying to remember, when is New Year's? That's in 2 days. All right.
2
days.
2 days for 2 days for me. Yeah, because the 20. Yeah, it's just turned the 29th for me.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
Turned 29th 1 hour ago.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you hopefully before New Year's, guys. So take it easy. Good night.
Yeah.